The next thing I want to talk about is what I call it input and output. Okay. Input and output. So you, as last week you did what we call it the flow charts. So in the flow chart, you must have seen that we declared a start and end. We used an oval. For input, we used a parallelogram. Now, this was for input and output. Right? It was also for the output, and you will see this in all of the flow charts. How when you create a flow chart and now you have to translate this into a code, or when you write a rectangle, right, and then you translate this into code, what do we do? Because now you know how to draw a flow chart, you learned how to create set of instructions that you can feed into a computer irrespective of programming language you use. The flowchart is same, your logic, your algorithm is still same, and flowchart is nothing but a pictorial representation of your algorithm. Some people loosely refer to the word as logic. Say, hey, there is something wrong in your logic. Basically, they are saying there is something wrong in your algorithm. The set of steps you have written it, and when you use flowchart, it becomes very loud and clear. Right? So in this, assume that now you have a flowchart and you have an input and output statement. How do you translate that into a code? And that is what we are precisely going to learn now, right? So in flowchart, the first thing is when you say input, Python provides a command called input. Interestingly, the word is also input, right? So Python provides a command called input, and you input, and then you put a parenthesis, and then you can give an optional message in between, and this will return you a value that you can store in a variable. That is how you accept an input from Python. Okay, and I'm going to dig deeper into it, but at a high level, to receive the input, Python provides a command called input. Precisely, it's called a function. Python provides a command or function that you use to accept the input from the user. So remember, you created a program. That program asks for the first name, asks for the last name, asks for age. These are the three inputs, and now you are checking if the person is eligible for COVID vaccine. And then if no, then it says sorry, and if it's yes, right, you say welcome Mr. or Miss XY, whatever it is. So how do you accept it? This program, you give it to somebody and they type it, they will type his own name. Then you cannot give a fixed name for Varun. Varun is going to type his own name, right? If you give it to Dev, Dev is going to put his own name. So you have to give a way where user can enter the value they want it, and your program will accept that value and process that data. So Python provides a command called function, or a command or function called input, and you use the way it is input parenthesis, and you can give an so by default you can say x equal to input. That's it. But if you do this, user will simply see cursor waiting for him to or her to enter value. It will not know what is expected, and I'll show you. I'll write the code and show you. You can also give an optional message here. That message has to be a fixed string, and remember, string is nothing but something between single quote or double quote. And I'm coming back to input. The second important command is to give the output, and output you use it for a print command. So print, and then you give a message, whatever message you give, and this is suppose say hello, and Python will print hello on the screen. So input will take from the screen, and print will give back to the screen. Okay. Now let me write the code and let me show you what I mean. And I don't know, you will have our CodeMode platform where you will be writing all the code. But I also recommend that you install a code editor called Visual Studio Code, so that you can independently practice. If you want some of the code, you can run it independently. Let me share my screen here, and I go. And let me put a new folder here. I guess. And I'll post a link of this so that all of you see it, right? So let me put chapter 6 here. No, this is not what I want. Delete. Yeah. Create a folder called chapter 6. Okay. And then I create a file in this and say example1.py. Okay. So this, before I dig deeper, let me quickly talk about what we call it is. This is a software called Visual Studio Code, and I'll post a link in our group. You can download Visual Studio Code, and I'll give you the link where you download it, install it. This is an code editor which you install in your computer, and you can run the code here. But to do the exercise, you can write the whole code directly on the platform app.codemode.us. You really don't need a code editor, because the software, the platform, has a built-in online code editor. But it's also a good idea to learn at least one code editor, because down the line when you are not using code editor at code mode, you need to know one editor that where you can write the code. And I'm going to give you a brief about this code editor, but primarily you can see you can create a new file here. You can open a file, open a folder. Don't worry about workspace and latest. You can revert, you can close the editor, close the folder and all. And this is pretty much undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, etc. Right? The important thing here is the run command. In the run, you can run with debugging and run without debugging. And I'll skip right now, but I'll come back to it when I teach you about trace tables. I'll come back to it and talk about what is debugging. Why do we need debugging? Okay. So for now, what you do is install this software, go here and install this software. And I'll write these instructions again. Install the software, go here, go to your C command, C prompt, right click, create a new folder, say code mode or Python classes, and create a new folder, let's say Python classes, right? Python course. And then within Python course, I will go ahead and open this. Let me rename this actually so that I don't have a conflict. I'll say batch 4. Okay. And then I can go ahead and you go here after you install, launch Visual Studio Code, say open folder, and then go to C colon and say batch 4 and say select. You will see like this. I can close this getting started. Here on the leftmost, you say new file. Make sure that you have this highlighted, and then you type example1.py. Okay, and you will notice that Visual Studio Code, this editor, detects a couple of things. It detects that you have Python already installed here. If not, you will need to install Python first. So I will write that in the instruction: install Python first, then install Visual Studio Code, and then create a folder, and then come here and create a new file and give the name of the file as .py. The extension is important because that is how this editor detects that you are doing a Python file, because this editor can be used to write JavaScript file, Java file, do different type of. It is an editor independent of programming language. It's pretty powerful. You can feed and say that, okay, I want this particular program to run like Python. For that you need to do .py, right? .py. So the editor is basically an interface, and it's a software where you can write the code and save the code. Behind the scene, it sends the code to Python, and Python sends to the processor and computer processor, and processor runs. So for humans, it's easy to write a program here, save a file, organize all your files on the left side. So this is more like an organizer. It has nothing to do with Python. You can write C++ code here, you can write Java code here, anything you want. It's just an editor, like your Notepad, right? But it's much better than Notepad because you can do several things that Notepad is a little hard to do, and it will take more time to do it in Notepad. So let's take our first code. Once you have Visual Studio Code editor set up, your example1.py, and I'm going to simply type and say print and say hello world. right? No computer programming starts without writing a hello world program. So let's do that. Same, say hello world, and I say go and run without debugging right now. What will happen if you notice it will run and then it will give the output here. You notice I'm running this program, and this code I wrote a command called print. This function is a command took one input message called hello world, and it is under single quote. If you notice here, right, this is under single quote. So whatever message I gave under single quote inside the parenthesis printed as it is on the screen. But you will notice that it did not print with single quote. Why? Because single quote is used to tell Python that this is my message. It does not print the single quote itself. Anything between the single quote is printed. Right? So it says hello world and it printed as it is. So print command is used to print the output. Remember the parallelogram at the end, you say I want to print a message. I want to print my result. You write a print. So I'll take an example, take another example. I can say x equal to 10, y equal to 20, and then says z equal to x plus y. A simple program. It has two numbers, x 10, y 20, and z equal to x plus y. And I want to print the value of finally z, because after I compute, this is assignment, right? I created a variable, declared a variable, and assigned a value 10, right? I created a variable y, assigned value 20. Then finally I created another variable called z, and adding the value of x and y. And then finally I'm saying print, and then I want to print the value of z, because that's how user will know that I computed z. At the end, I want to give my output variable print command. Remember, the print z is nothing but you're drawing a parallelogram and you are saying write z. Equivalent to that in Python, you say print z, right? Otherwise, how we do it in, then this will be parallelogram, assuming you did some computation, and say close, because this is my last statement. I'll say write z, and this is what I am doing here using print command. Okay, so if I print run here, run without debugging, it's 30 at the bottom here. It ran the program and it says 30 and exited. Then so print is one command. Print has different variations. I can print multiple values. For example, suppose I want to print a value with a message. So again, I'm printing a message. So I want to give in single quote, because this is a fixed string. I want to say your result is and comma and I say z. The print is command took two values, one string in single quote and then comma and z. The comma is a separator. You can give multiple values in the print command, and print command is smart enough to convert every variable into a string and join with a space. So you'll notice here, if I run this, say run without debugging, you will see a couple of things. I did not give any space at the end, but if you notice here, there is a space between is and 30. The reason is, second thing is z is a number, right? Z is a number here, but when I'm printing it, it printed along with the string your result is 30. So z got converted into single quote 30 and then got added into your result is with a space 30. Make sense? So if you want to print multiple values, all you do is simply is comma separate each value, and that value can be a fixed string, can be a number. In that case, it will automatically convert into a string, or it can be some computation. I can print z plus 1. I can do this, and you will notice here, if I simply print, I say run and says run without debugging, say the result is 31. Python is smart enough to know that is a z and I have to add 1. So it took the value of z, which is 30, added 1, become 31, and then joined this 31 with your result is 31. Right? So the print command, you will see some variations. It's pretty straightforward. You say print your all the values, comma separated. Okay. Next, we saw print, and print, as I said, is command. I am coming back to print again, but let me quickly talk about input. Suppose I want to find, let me change this, and I'll say I'll create another file here just to show you. You highlight in the folder. Within that folder, you click here. Use the blue box. Click left, new file, and type the name. Example 2.py. And in this case, I'm creating a new file. I can go ahead and close this file. This file, I'll say first underscore name. I can see I created a camel case value. I say input this time. Okay. Second one, I say last name. Again, I created another file. I'll say input, but this time I say enter your last name. And then I'm gonna say full name, which is my computation, a variable. I declared a variable, and then I want to do join first name and last name. So I can say first name plus space plus last name. You want a couple of things you will notice. If the way I type right now here, it shows you what we call it IntelliSense. IntelliSense is built in the editor. It's a feature of the editor. It shows you automatically all the variables you have declared, so that you don't have to type everything. I can simply tap and it will take the first value highlighted right now and finish it. That saves you time as a developer. You type fast, you select a value, you don't have to. And good thing is there is no chance of spelling mistake. Remember, Python is case sensitive. Rather than saying last name, if I say last name, you will notice Python, this code editor is taking code quickly and sending to Python and saying, hey, don't run, but can you tell me if there is a problem in this code? And Python says, yep, the last name is not declared, because as you can see, Python is case sensitive. There is nothing called last name with a small n. And that's why code editor is saving you time, saying before you run, I'm telling you there is an error. So first you resolve, make sure there is no error, then only you run. That is what Python is doing right now. Correct? So I will go back and fix this, and I'll say last name. Now you'll notice it. One more thing, the color, or what we call it, syntax highlighting. The input is a command, is a function given by Python to you. So it is in yellow. The variable you declare, it's blue. You can see it's a blue in color. All the fixed messages you give is in this color, enter your last name. So if this way, now I want to finally print, and again you can see print is in yellow, light yellow, and I want to print my full name. But this time I want to say welcome, and then I want to say full name, right? So I'm taking input as first name, again another input, my last name, and print. One thing again I advise, and you should always do, is write comments. The Python has a way to comment the file, comment your code, which is primarily used for documentation. If you read the same code after 1 year, if somebody else is looking into your code, your variable name should be explicit, variable name should be meaningful. Your code should have enough number of comments, enough lines of comment to create a documentation. You don't have to write separate document to explain what this code does. You write the document as you type. So for example, you will hash, and you will notice that it comes in green color. It says except first name. Let's say hash except last name. Comments are for you and me as humans to read it. Python completely ignores it. Python doesn't care what you write in the comments. Comments by the code editor, it is highlighted in green. First letter of the line, if you put it a hash, this character, then it becomes a comment. Python is going to ignore it. For Python, line number 2, 4, 5, and 6 exist. For you, 1 to 6 exist. Right? But good thing is it makes your code readable. It serves like a documentation. It's easy to transfer the knowledge to somebody who is going to maintain your code. In future, when you come back, you can understand what you did at the time because you documented your code, right? So write enough documents, write good number of comments. You can put comment at the end also. I can see, you don't have to put in a new line. It's good practice to put in a new line. I can put it here also. Take an example. I can go ahead and write a comment here and say this is, I'll say joining two strings. Okay? This is what primarily I'm doing it. But once you put a comment, anything you write, even if you write a code here x equal to 20, it is not going to run, because once comment starts, everything after that character is a comment. Doesn't matter, you cannot write a code x equal to 20 years. If you have to write, you must put it in a new line now. If you want to comment this existing line like this, I can remove it, I can comment it. Suppose with the one other powerful thing when you are writing code is, suppose sometimes you're testing it and you realize that, what, I don't want this code right now. Rather than deleting the code, just comment it. Again, you can uncomment it and you can test it again. So comment and uncomment serves you as logically deleting the code, not physically deleting the code. You're logically deleting it, because for Python, it doesn't exist anymore once you comment it out. Okay, so coming back, I am creating an input function. Let me run this code, and I'll tell you that I'm going to highlight a couple of things. What is the difference between input and this input? This input does not take any message inside. So what will happen? And then pay attention to what happens when you display a message like this. I can start without debugging, and you notice here the input here, the cursor is waiting for me. So what is happening right now? And this is a very important concept. So please pay attention. Right? This part, when you say input, right? Right now, as you know, the Python executes code from top to bottom, and then right to left, right? So this part, right side of the equal to sign will execute first, then assignment will happen. Similarly, this part of the code will run first, then assignment happens. So right now, the code is waiting for at this level, input parenthesis, and it is waiting for me to enter a value. Once I enter a value, then it will assign a value to whatever I entered on the keyboard to this variable, first name. Then it will go to the next line. Again, it sees an input statement. So it will show me, it will wait for me, but this time it will show me also a message. And you will see that, suppose I enter my first name as Yashwant. Notice it says enter your last name. This time it comes with a message, because this is the message I wanted to print on the screen so that user understand what data I'm expecting from or her. So this time I'm going to say my last name as Singh and hit enter, and it says welcome Yashwant Singh. So a couple of things happened here. As I typed my name here, my first name input, it did not show me a message because I did not give a message here. But this time I wanted to inform user what data to expect. So I gave enter your last name, and it entered last name. And then finally I took the value user entered, because this value was stored in this variable after here, right? Similarly, this value went here. And then finally, on line number 5, now Python knows my first name, Python knows last name. I also wanted to print with some space. I have to give this exclusively. I have to say, well, first space last name. And because I'm computing my full name. Once I compute full name, then I can simply say print welcome, but I did not give space here, because I know Python, when I put it in the print command, Python will automatically insert a space, and you can notice it here. Python has inserted a space here. I could have done this also. Let me comment this line. And write here print, and I say welcome, and then first name and last name. So rather than me trying to do line number 5, trying to create a full name, forget about it. I leave it to Python, and Python will run and do it for me, right? So this time I'm going to say Varun, right? And last name is Gurisan. And then I enter, it says welcome Varun Girisan automatically, because I know print statement will concatenate for me first name and last name. Should you do this sometimes in your logic or in your algorithm? Not really. Why? Because it is possible that last name is empty. Some people may not have a last name, and you don't want Python to give a default space. How about if I want to say last name comma first name? Then what do I do? Then I will have to go back here, and I say, rather than doing this line, maybe I should comment this line and copy it here. I'll say full name equal to last name plus comma plus first name, because this is how I want the full name to appear on the screen. So in this case, actually, I will now line number 6. I control how full name is created. To give it in the print command, you cannot control it because print command simply joins strings in order. Welcome, whatever second variable, third variable, fourth variable, and all that. Okay? So the full name, I would rather giving this. I'll say full name, and then you can run this, and you will see yes, Singh and welcome Singh comma here, because I am controlling it the way full name is built here on this line. However, print command also, so I recommend always give me a meaningful message in the input in the single quote. That way user knows. Suppose I want user to enter your age, right? And say enter your age and give a space here. In fact, I give like this, colon and a space. That way you will notice cursor will wait, enter your first name. And now here also I'll give a space. Yes, you will say now it's much more, I mean, it's better formatted. You see, enter your first name, colon, and then there is a space, and then cursor is waiting. So now if I say here Varun, enter last name, Greason, and then hit enter, it says welcome Greason comma Varun. Right? So input is a command you use to accept input from the screen. Unless you enter this input, computer will wait for you to enter the value. And whatever value you enter, it will store in the variable called first name. Then again, so the message that you give is displayed. It is for the user to make your program user friendly. Similarly, you use print command to give the output, the value you calculated at the end, your result. You want to print it back on the screen. So you use print command. Print command, comes in a couple of formats. One interesting thing in the print command is what I call it. By default, it uses space, right? But I can also give a variable called sep, and then I can say comma. And this time it will, you'll notice it. Let me undo this and go back here and say first name, last name, run without debugging, and say Anish, last name A, and it will says welcome, comma, Anish A. See, I created the full name with first name space last name. But when I printed it, this time it did not print welcome space and then full name, because I say, hey, don't use space as your separator. Use comma as a separator. So this time it says welcome, comma, Anish A. So you can control print statement with a separator the way you want it to print it, with space, with comma, and all that part.